let's finalize the horse's legs. So we really only have two tasks here: to clean up our function curves, yes, but more importantly, we'll need to make sure that the pelvic legs are moving naturally. Currently, they move outside of the thoracic legs. However, they should actually be translated to move inside of our front legs. All right, so let's go ahead and take care of that first. We'll start with the right pelvic leg. We'll head over to our curve editor, go to the x-axis, and this is a very fast fix. It's just a matter of grabbing all of our keys here and translating down. Feel free to turn on interactive update to see the change. We've also made sure that we have moved to a frame where we can see the hoof clearly inside of the front legs. All right, so once we have found a decent value, might want to bring this up just a little bit more. We can then go ahead and round this out. So I'll go ahead and bring this to about a value of -14. We can see that the knee control also needs to be fixed, so we don't have any weird bends in the leg. We can see that clearly on frame 10. So I'll go back to about frame 2, go back to the position x-axis, and we can go ahead and drop the key down and then round the value out. So I'll go ahead and bring this to about -13. Transferring this to the left side is now a cinch. We'll just use the reciprocal to what we've used on the right. So for the x-axis, let's go ahead and grab all of our keys, and we'll set the value for our leg control to +14. And the knee control will move to +13. Beautiful. Now, you may wonder about the arcs in the legs. Remember, the horse is a very rigid creature, so we're not going to get many arcs at all in the x-axis. The main arcs are, of course, going to be what we see in our side view. So that being said, that's just something we'd want to check for using our trajectories. Okay, great. Now keep in mind, if you would like to learn how to really improve your arcs in, let's say, more of a front view, feel free to take a look at our walk cycle training course. Okay, great. Well, at this point, it's now just a matter of polishing our function curves. So we could always start with the right scapula. I'll just go to the x-axis. We'll remove any keys in between our anchor points that don't do anything for us. Now we can go to our y-axis. And here again, it's just a matter of cleaning things up. So I'll go ahead and start by getting rid of the keys from, let's say, 3 to about frame 6. Let's just go ahead and remove those. And it's a good idea to actually go to that time of the key you're about to delete, just to make sure that there are no drastic changes. Okay, great. So moving forward, looks like we can keep the key on 7. However, we don't need the keys on 8 and 9. Let's go ahead and remove those. We can always grab the intangent of the key on 10, our high point, and just drag that out a bit more. So we've optimized the function curve while still keeping the same behavior. So it looks like we can do the same on 11 and 12. Let's go ahead and remove those keys and drag the out tangent out a little bit more. Looks like when we get to frame 14, it's another key we might want to remove to smooth things out. Then what I'd also like to do is make a change to our anchor keys on 1 and 16. Let's go ahead and drag those down just to smooth things out a little bit more. Okay, great. So at this point we can go ahead and scrub through. The scapula is a lot smoother. Great. All right, so we can now move to our front leg. Let's go to the x-axis, and again, we'll go ahead and get rid of all of those in-between keys. We'll go to the y-axis, and here we can start by just going in and removing all of the in-between keys just before the plant. So let's start there. Now I'd like to show you a neat trick. So when we get to our plant frames, in order to get a constant speed for the timing itself to be correct, what we can do is remove the keys between the initial plant and the key just before the hoof leaves the surface. So we'll go ahead and remove the keys again between 13 and 14. And then we can set this range to a constant speed by selecting those outer keys and giving them a linear interpolation. Great. So again, what this does is it gives us a constant speed, which is natural when the foot, or in our case, when the hoof is planted. Awesome. I'd also like to make a change on 12. You can see that we're running into some locking. No worries. We'll just go ahead and translate the leg up in the z-axis a little bit more. Now we're ready to go ahead and move to the z-axis and start tweaking. Okay, great. So I'll just go through and check each frame. If you like, if you're getting a little bit of pulling around frame 2, feel free to go in and translate the leg up or forward a bit more on the y-axis. But now looking at the z-axis, it looks like we could just go through and remove in-between keys. So I've just removed the key that was currently on frame 4. We might need 5 and 6, so I'll go ahead and keep those. When we get to, let's say, 7 all the way to 9, we might be able to remove those keyframes. Smooth things out. 12 we need. And then look at this flat line that's created from 13 to 16. We can delete the keys in between that. This is the plant that we've tweaked in the y-axis, so you can see that there's no change in the z-axis, therefore there's no need for those keyframes. Okay, great. Well, at this point we can then focus on our rotate tracks. So I'll first start with the tracks that are very easy to clean, that there's no change on the position Y and, or excuse me, the rotation Y and rotation Z. However, the rotation X we'll need to tweak. So we could first start with our plant frames. 13 through 15 can be removed. Then we could start to smooth things out here. At the beginning, let's see what happens if we remove the key on frame 2. We can see how that drops the fetlock. And if you wanted more of a breaking joint style of animation, you might go ahead and keep that change. However, we're going for something a bit more natural, so I'll go ahead and undo that to keep the pose on frame 2. It looks like we can remove the key on frame 3 with no worries. I'll keep the pose on frame 5. Let's go ahead and take a look at frame 6. We might be able to remove that key. And as we move forward, let's say frame 8. Let's go ahead and remove that. And everything else we should be able to keep. All right, great. So that's basically the process for the rest of the legs. Just go ahead and look for any irregularities. If you notice any IK locking, go ahead and tweak the frame. So for instance, the left front leg on frame 9, we could go ahead and just pull that back just a little bit more. And then it's just a matter of just smoothing out your function curves the same way Make sure you're getting a nice fluid motion throughout. So that's basically it for the legs. So in the next lesson, we're ready to add some movement to the horse's neck and head.